I am so glad there are so many people wanting to hear about the budget workshop, but I've been told they're not here for me, they're actually here for the next meeting. But I'm going to still take the advantage of having just a big audience. So again, my name is David Robledo. I'm the Executive Director for Business and Finance, and we are happily going to be talking about Budget Workshop number 2. So in Budget Workshop number 1, we kind of talk about the full process. Now we're going to kind of break it up into 3 easy pieces. Today's meeting is going to be talking about revenues. Next meeting is going to be talking about the expenses, primarily the biggest expense, which is the payroll. And then the one for June, we're going to kind of tie it all together, having a balanced budget, and then talk about how we're going to do the tax rate and bond referendum. So news around the state. So if you watch the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, you'll start seeing all these things are happening in Austin, where the state legislature is meeting to, again, pass bills to become law. But one of the biggest items is the budget. And so you will hear items talking about there's a huge surplus. Where are they going to put those funds? And one of the topics that's really big is school vouchers. Now, they use different terms for that, but at the end of the day, we are not for that particular item because, in a sense, those kids belong to Weslaco ISD. And so, in case if you do see items that are related to that, we are, again, we're not a promoter of certain laws or anything like that, but we're just providing information. And so the Texas Tribune is one of those newspapers that has a lot of information. If you look back to March 28th, there was an item by the Senate to include funds for that. So the good thing about it, the House did not talk about it. So when they both approved the budget, it has to match. So you're hear terms about a committee of the two forming so they could, in a sense, weed out those differences so that it could be the same for the budget. So just to kind of reiterate, again, there's newspaper articles that are coming out daily about what's happening in Austin. And in a sense, they just passed their version, the Senate's. There is some items that are the same. So if they're the same, they get to just say a little check mark and move on to those differences. So one of the things that we always look to is the state going to maintain the school foundation program? That is where we get our funding for teaching our children here in Weslaco ISD. There's increases built into the plan. Both of them did say they are going to fund it, so that's a good thing. Well, the big thing that you're going to see on the news again is the differences. So both houses did say, I want to knock those out. We're also seeing major differences in property tax relief. So again, depending on what house, some are saying, hey, I want to change the homestead exemption. That's one group. The other group is saying, you know what, let's just compress the tax rates. So again, same. So again, how much money we're getting for textbooks, the Strong's Foundation grant, they're the same. Additional supplemental monies for special ed and money for cybersecurity measures. So again, since those are the same, we know at least they're not having to fight on those differences. And these are all statewide initiatives. So these are not the amounts that are being given to just Weslaco ISD. It's for everyone else too. So when we think about how this last month ended, March 31st, what are some of the key features that are going to drive our revenues? The very biggest thing is always going to be student enrollment. And so the question is, what do we expect next year to be? So just to kind of give you some few indicators, when we compare the state, what's happening in the state of Texas for this current year, they increased 1.38%. Other districts, now we're going to dive deeper into those numbers, because some districts rose a lot, some are decreasing. How about Weslaco? And so in a little while, you're going to see a slide that talks about what our history is. But for the budget purpose, again, to be conservative, we are saying that about 0.5% is going to be increasing for next year's. What is happening with our 3- and 4-year-olds? And so, again, if you hear in the news, you will find out that IDEA is no longer going to be having that program. Great news for us, because we have that program at all of our elementaries. And we have a partnership that is currently in place with Head Start to even have more classes. We are working with them. That's a whole other agenda item down the future to help us see how we're going to handle that for the future. If the state talks about school vouchers, that will have an effect on our numbers. And so as we kind of see all those things that are happening within our main driver of receiving funding, again, we're going to be very conservative for the budget process. Is one of those that I hope I'm wrong, that we are going to increase way more. And so as we get closer to snapshot date in October, after the first semester, if we find out that we are way over the numbers, we will do a budget amendment to make sure that everyone is funded correctly. So that's kind of like how I kind of see how, if things go well for the district, how we would kind of catch that up. One other thing that we do need to talk about for revenues is property taxes. So again, the majority of our funds come from the state. The other portion is state taxes for our property values here in Weslaco ISD. And so as we kind of look, and again, we'll see this in a few seconds, how much has it increased? So for this school year, funding. So just another way of saying it, if property values go up, means we're going to get more taxes. Oh, the state says, well, you know what? That I don't need to give you as much money, because then I'm going to reduce the foundation money. There's not much we could do with that. So the big question is how is the district going to be assessed their tax values for all the properties here? Again, you'll see what I project out for next school year. And so there is just a lot of different items that are being thrown into this year's budget. A lot of it is, again, dictated as to what's happening at the state. So we'll see how all that kind of how it all plans out in the next couple months. So again, this school year we had talked about how much was budgeted for. $15,700. Currently, if we were just to look at what is the current ADA, $13,800. So again, there will be a shortfall, a difference between that. So what did the district do to make sure that we're back on track and to have a balanced budget? Again, this should not be hopefully new news for anyone, but it's just more of a reflection. 300 teachers being coded currently as local funds, or to local, now are being coded to ESSER. Again, that's just a temporary deal. Approximately about 17 million is in that, the dollar amount for that. And so the funds that we did get from the state for being different as to what actually is happening, we are just saving that. When next year, when the funds get given to the district, they will make that difference, but we already have that money in the bank. So we're not going to spend that money that we got extra. We're just going to keep it ready for that. What other things happen? And so one of the major pieces is that campus alternative education program. So it's kind of like what I think in some places they call it ISS2. Again, we're trying to just build up that discipline for our students. So enrollment, again, when I say 13 or 1,600 or 16,000 kids are enrolled, we need to see what had happened. And so way back when, 2018-19 school year. And so I try to do at least 5 years back. Again, the pre-COVID time period. 17,253 kids were in the district. That was only a 0.77 of an increase way back when. COVID happened. We lost 4.16% of kids. The second year of COVID kind of stabilized a little. There was the same amount of kids who were enrolled. Last year, 21-22, another dip of 5%, almost 6% for the district. So to go from 17,000, now 15,500. In those 2-3 years, we saw that decrease in students. The green line is just a percentage. The blue bar and the purple bars are what the attendance had been. Luckily for this year, I kind of mentioned about the state. The state only grew 1.5%. But here, because of all the efforts of the staff, administration, everybody, we were able to make back what was lost in the previous year, 5.8%. But I'm thinking, if we're out of COVID, what was it before? Barely 0.77% increase. So again, I'm hoping that I'm conservative, hoping I'm wrong, hoping we get way more, but at least for next year, we are anticipating what it was like before COVID, 0.42. We did get some help from our PEMS and technology department, so we did make that adjustment to these numbers. And what we project for the next 3 to 4 years, again, 0.5% being super conservative. And so at least you're kind of seeing what numbers we're going for budget purposes. Again, the other major piece of revenues is our property taxes. So way back when, 2021, when I say 2021, it's technically the 22 school year. That's how the appraisal district shares times. So 22 or 21 is technically last year. 22 is today. 23 is what's going to be for next year. So from 21 to versus this year, we saw a 13.7% increase in taxable values. Again, if we were to look at all the different properties here in our Weslaco area, we get to see we had so much in land, but really the major increase that had occurred was in improvements. In other words, homes, apartments, stores, and manufacturing. That's where the majority of our $500 million increase occurred. Will we have that next year? We don't know. We are projecting the 2%. Again, if it's more, great, we'll get more tax dollars, but we know it has that inverse effect again.
So, Mr. Lula, if I can stop you right there. You're saying because of the home improvements, all the increases, It's supposed to be a 7.7% change, but we're projecting we'll get 2% of that 7.7?
At the end of this month, I will get a hard number from the state or from the appraisal district to say what is our anticipated assessed values. So to give you two big dates, April 30th, July 31st, maybe even that last days of the month, we will get two numbers from the appraisal district to tell us what they are. So when we see these numbers next month, we will have the preliminary number from Hidalgo County Appraisal District.
Okay.
So again, just to kind of get a beginning process of what the budget could be, we're just assuming 2%, but it may be more.
Yes,
And more likely
I
it
want to
will
be
more.
conservative, because what happened with ADA, we put the high number here, and I know I wasn't the only one when they opened up that letter for the taxes, and I think a lot of people just were shocked at what they saw. So I'm sure there's going to be people going and protesting. So that's why I'm saying this is a conservative number,
This is
2%
conservative.
out of the 7. Okay.
April 30th, we'll get a new number. July 31st, again, we'll get a more final number.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
so those are the two big dates
All right.
that will. So let's pretend this is a even year. Right now, we're in odd year. So odd years, to me, tells me the state legislature is changing the law. If there was no changes to how they're funding us, this is the number I would have normally gone for all the different revenues for the ones that we have to get board approved. Local fund, which is the general fund, Fund 199, and all the other state funds, food service, and debt service. So again, if there was no change to the homestead exemption, if there was no monies, new dollars to the district, then I would have said, oh, we would have maybe a $2 to $3 million increase. That will all go out the door by May 29, because that's the hope that the state budget would be adopted. Then that would then give us an idea what the true revenues are going to be for some of the items. But it's really the majority of it. The ones that deal in the middle, which is called state revenue, those, the two biggest numbers there, or two of the biggest numbers, the foundation and the per capita, those will change once the law gets updated. But if we were just the same, no law changes, this is what it would have been. And so this number will be presented again at the 4th board meeting, but at least we have a starting point. This is probably the one that everyone's probably going to look more towards too. Again, I am throwing my little disclaimer. This is old law. In other words, if we had no new dollars from the state, these are the different variations of our pay increases. Really, we're seeing a 2%, 2.5%, and a 3%. What would that look like? So again, a 2%, more or less, it'd be about 2.6 million. 2.5, 3.2. A 3% will be about $4 million. Now, what we do know of last year, that we did approve 1,700 with a 3% of midpoint. There was other adjustments that had occurred. We don't know what those are. Those are now working with our Human Resources Department along with TASB. The hope is for the next meeting, because I was telling you that this meeting is more about revenue. Next meeting is more about expenses, primarily salaries. And then the 4th meeting, which is the meeting to adopt the budget, we kind of combine everything with all the updates. But at least you can have an idea what would be a 2%, 2.5%, a 3%. And so at least to kind of give you a baseline for that.
Trustee Castillo is not here, but he did leave. He had some commitments, but he did leave some questions for me to ask you for the budget amendment while we got to the salaries. And he said, with respect to teacher pay, my understanding is that both the House and the Senate have passed budgets that include more money for teacher pay. If the final budget does include money for teacher raises, like, for example, the 2,000, the Model 3, are we planning to include on top of the 2,000 some more money with the House and Senate budget? That
No.
was-
So the way it
No,
would
Mr.
be,
Castillo.
if the state comes back, and again, I'm totally just picking a number. I've heard they were saying something like $4,000. So that would take the place of what locally would have been initially. So in other words, it's not going to be 2 plus 4 to be 6. It'll be, let me use those funds for something else. And in a sense, it'll be the required, how they have stipulated in the House bill or Senate bill 1.
How do you, okay.
And so something that, to kind of give you a reference, 4 years ago, House Bill 3, so that's what it was, said, hey, you need to put 30% to pay certain people, so much percent to pay a different group of people. That is how I'm kind of seeing how the law is being written again. They're just changing the percentages. So whatever the final percentage, so let me give you an example. We're going to see a new line on our foundation revenues. So they break down of the $100 million that we get, they're going to put a brand new line saying salary adjustments. The state would tell me how to make the payment for the teachers and everyone else. And so,
We don't get to pick, this is how, okay.
yeah, we try to follow what the law
Yes,
says.
of course, of
and
course.
so, yeah.
Okay,
And so,
that answers his question.
So I will be sharing this slide in the next meeting and in the final meeting. So what are the major changes? So again, if we have the 0.5% of kids come to the district, we know that that's going to be about 540,000. We don't know everything else of what is going to be the new monies that come in. If we do Model 3, I know it's going to cost the district $4 million. So if it's negative, it means I need to come up with funds. If it's a positive number, it's money that we're getting from the state or we're making changes. If there was a decrease in closed vacancies, well, we are going to be closing some vacancies for the next following year. Those that decided to resign, some of those positions we are going to be able to save. Or more likely, if it was a needed position, this person had been there for 30 plus years, the new person, it only has 15 years. And again, I'm just making a story up, but that difference in pay would be a savings to the district. So as we kind of get those numbers from HR and then from TASB through their analysis, we'll be able to fill in the blanks. So every time we have this meeting, we'll have this slide to kind of show, hopefully at the end of the day, it'll be a 0 or a positive number to the fund balance. So I am almost finished. Just a reminder, the next budget workshop is on May 16. The fourth one would be to adopt the budget, and that we are tentatively June 20th. What some districts do, and what I'm probably going to recommend, is that since we don't know all the items that's happening at the state and how our final assessments from the county, that we'll probably adopt the tax rate in the August meeting. And so, which is allowable, as long as we get it done by September 30th, we're good. This will also give us more time to talk about the bond. And so, there we go.
Any comments or questions? Comments or questions?
You could always share with the superintendent. If there is a specific question, we'll write something up and then we'll get it to you back in the future. So I know for those that weren't able to come.
Yes, definitely.
And
Thank
so,
you. Thank you, Mr. Rebel.
thank you.
Appreciate it. For the record, Trustee Rodriguez got to the meeting at 5:38 p.m. and Trustee Cuellar was here at 5:35 p.m. That brings us to item number 4, adjournment. It is now 5:59 p.m. and we are adjourned with the workshop. Do we need a break or anything before we start? We'll continue with the regular board meeting. Does anybody need a break? All right, that was very informative. Thank you. We will now begin with our regular board meeting. Good evening once again. I'm Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. The board is meeting by the use of Google Meets and telephone transmission, which allows two-way communication for members of the public during public comments. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 6 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. I'll now begin the roll call. Trustee Rodriguez?
Present.
Trustee Cuellar?
Present.
Trustee Castillo? Trustee Trevino? Trustee Nieto? Trustee de los Santos?
Present.
Let the record show that a quorum of board members are in attendance. We'll move on to item number 3, invocation. We have Mr. Robledo. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Rivera, members of the board. Tonight, I would like to introduce, doing the invocation tonight, Mary Tafoya, a counselor from Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School.
Hello, good evening.
Good
As you are, we will go before the Lord in prayer to do the invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon, first of all and foremost, thanking you for our lives and our health, and for our loved ones, and for today in general. Thank you for our school board leaders and our superintendent, and for all the personnel who make Weslaco ISD. We also thank you for all the victories and successes we have accomplished this far, and for those that are forthcoming. It is because of you that we are here today, and without you, we can't on our own. Please help us to keep focused and trust in you in every step of the way. Father God, I pray that you bless each of our leaders here today with wisdom, knowledge, and guidance as they have gathered to discuss school business and to make decisions for our school district. If any of them are tired and weary, Father, I pray that you restore their strength, their health, and their peace. I ask all of this in the powerful name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Sorry, we'll move on to item number 5, awards and recognition. I'm sorry, item number 4, Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, I'd like to introduce 2 students from Cuellar Middle School. Can they please step up, please, as we introduce you? Come on, you can step. We'll get started. Okay. First, we'd like to start off with Miracle Perez, who is an 8th grade student at Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School, and she is the daughter of Jesus and Becky Perez. Miracle is president of the Student Council and is an active member of the volleyball, soccer, and track and field teams. Although she hasn't quite decided on a major, she is interested in the field of human services. She wants to attend either St. Mary's University or Our Lady of the Lake. Can we have a big hand, please, for Miracle Perez? Also with us tonight is Giovanni Ortiz. He is also an 8th grade student at Cuellar Middle School, and his parents are Juan and Julie Ortiz. Giovanni is president of the National Junior Honor Society and is an honor roll student. He is also a member of the symphonic band, which recently earned a sweepstakes distinction. He also won first place in the team category in the Consumer Decision-Making event for the Cuellar 4-H Club. Giovanni is also a football, basketball, track player, and also in mariachi. In the future, he hopes to attend Texas A&M University and major in animal science and become a veterinarian. How about a big hand for Giovanni Ortiz? And if the parents of these students are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents? All right, will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge? Okay, so y'all can face that way whenever you're ready. Get us started, okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Nice job, guys.
Thank you to Miracle and Giovanni from Cuellar Middle School. We'll move on to item number 5, the awards and recognitions.
Yes, Madam President, we have lots of recognitions tonight, so we'll start off with some students, some band students from Weslaco High School. How about a big hand as they enter the room? Once again, these are band students from Weslaco High School. So tonight we want to congratulate several students who have advanced to UIL solo and ensemble state competition after receiving superior ratings. Students, as I say your name, if you could step forward or raise your hand so we could recognize you, okay? So from Weslaco High School, we have state solo qualifiers. We'll start off with Christian Rodriguez. Kristen? Not here? Okay, not present. Sofia Sanchez. Emmett Bravo. Autumn Salinas. All right. Eliza Gonzalez. Raymond Sanchez. Christian Aguilar. Alexia Tirado. Caitlin Burciaga. Angel Guerra. Alex Hernandez. Kevin Lugo. Karina Martinez. Anthony Ortiz. Isabella Sanchez. Mario Vallejo. Melanie Villarreal. Steven Zamora. Litzy Cedillo. Georgina Chavez. Brandon Santiago. Bernabe Martinez. Ronaldo Cavazos. Dariana Garza. Danny Ibarra. Francisco Riojas. Josue Perez. Ismael Ibarra. Nathaniel Alvarado. Daniel Morales. Juan Camacho. Antonio de Anda. Fernando de Anda. Erica Gonzalez. Isaiah Lopez. Samantha Mendez. Robert Trevino. Anthony Anciso. We also have some state qualifiers and state ensemble. And so we'd like to recognize the Woodwind Trio, Christian Rodriguez, Raymond Sanchez, and Sofia Sanchez. We also have a trombone quartet, state ensemble, state qualifiers. Bernabe Martinez, got it. Alfonso Jimenez, Jacob Rubio, and Ismael Ibarra. Congratulations. A tuba euphonium quartet, Reynaldo Cavazos, Leila Montolongo, Josue Perez, and Francisco Riojas. We also have a state qualifier in choir, Iris Acevedo. All right, we recognize everybody? Okay. We would also like to recognize, let's see, did I get everybody? Yes. Our band director from Weslaco High School, Rodrigo Leal. Mr. Leal. And parents, if you're here, parents of these students, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents. All right, once again, congratulations. You make us proud. You may exit this way. Thank you. All right, up next, we have some band students that we'd also like to recognize as state qualifiers from Weslaco East High School, the Wildcat Regiment. How about a big hand as they enter the room? All right, from Weslaco East High School. All right, students, hello. Hope you all are doing well. As I say your name, if you could please step forward or raise your hand so you can be recognized, okay? All right, so several students who are UIL solo and ensemble state competition after receiving superior ratings from Weslaco East High School. We'll start off with Eddie Lopez. Is he present? Eddie Lopez. Thank you. Julia Lopez. Gabby Sanchez. Isla Trevino, George Castillo, Edward de Alva, Noah Hall, Andrew Baron, Darian Sierra, Martín Pérez, Gerardo Vázquez, Alejandro Alejos, Ethan Reina. We also have some state ensemble state qualifiers. Flute quartet, Jackie Garza, Julia Lopez, Caitlin Peña, Coral Quiroga, Mix Clarinet Quartet, Eddie Lopez. Congratulations. Gabby Sanchez, Alyssa Trevino, Maria Fernanda Perez. And we also have the euphonium quartet, Brenda Belmares, Jose Valdez, Juan Dominguez, Leandra Gonzalez. Congratulations to them. And we'd also like to say a big congratulations to the Weslaco East Band Director, Armando Cuellar. Okay, So let's recognize the parents. Can the parents please stand and be recognized, parents? Can I let them go? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Wildcat Regiment, band members, state qualifiers. And we're going to have a pause in the meeting. We need to have our Madam President, here she comes, back in. So we'd have a quorum here. Okay, so moving right along. Here we go. All right, we have one student from Weslaco High School. Can you have a big hand as she enters the room? Okay, well, tonight we want to recognize a member of the Weslaco High School Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America organization. This senior will represent Weslaco High School and the state of Texas at the FCCLA National Leadership Conference in Denver, Colorado this summer. Congratulations. Let me say a couple more things about her and then announce her name. I jumped the gun a little bit there. I just think it's awesome if you're going to Denver, Colorado. She beat out 22 competitors in her event to advance to nationals. Congratulations to Lily Ford. And I would also like to recognize the FCCLA sponsor, Miss Mary Martin. Miss Martin. And Miss Lily Ford's parents, if they're here, can they please be recognized, stand, or wave? All right, thank you very much. Move on to our next set of students we're going to recognize. How about a big hand as we recognize some FFA members from Weslaco ISD as they enter the room? So tonight we want to congratulate our high school students who competed and excelled at the 2023 Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show. These students from the Future Farmers of America Club put in countless hours to develop and prepare their animal exhibits. All these exhibits were selected to market, which is a prestigious accomplishment. So we have students here from Weslaco East and Weslaco High School. All right, we're going to start off with Weslaco East FFA. Students, how you doing? So as I say your name, if you could please step forward or raise your hand so we could recognize you, okay? All right. So from Weslaco East High School, third place Dark Cross Market Hog, Jalen Cantu. All right. Not present. All right. Third place Fine Wool Cross Lamb, Brendan Cromer. Second place Market Goat, Joyce Perales. First place, Open Commercial Doe Goat. Second place, Market Goat, Angela Torres. Got first place in Market Pen Rabbits, also first place, and reserve New Zealand Breed Rabbit, Brianna Martinez. Also from Weslaco East, we have first place Heavyweight Commercial Heifer, Reserve Heavyweight Division Commercial Heifer, Grand Overall AOB Commercial Heifer Open Show. This goes to Eileen Martinez. Okay. And I would also like to recognize their sponsor, Miss Lynette Suarez from Weslaco East High School. Okay, from Weslaco High School now. We'll start off third place, Market Steer, Class 8, ABC, medium weight, Art Gonzalez. Third place, Market Goat, Class 8, light medium weight, Diego Calderon. Third place, Market Steer, Class 11, Charlet, medium weight, Ella Ford. Third place, Market Lamb, Class 18, South Down, Joseph Leal. Third place, Market Steer, Class 22 AOB Heavyweight, Cora Ford. Third place, Market Goat, Class 19 Medium Heavyweight, Francisco Tostado. Second place, Market Steer, Class 7 ABC Lightweight, Daniel Cavazos. Second place, Market Steer, Class 8 ABC Medium Weight, Jaden Marez. Second place, Market Rabbit, Class 7 Californian, Violet Vega. Okay. Right here? No? Keep going. Second place, Market Goat, Class 14 Medium Weight, Anaí Tostado. Second place, Market Lamb, Class 27, Medium Wool Heavyweight, Heavy Medium, Christopher Ramirez. First place, Market Goat, Class 14, Medium Weight, Ava Luna. First place, Market Lamb, Class 31, Medium Wool, Cheyenne Garza. Champion, Market Lamb Class 2 Haired, Champion, 2 Teeth, Division Commercial Doe, Diego Calderon. Champion, Market Rabbits Class 10, OPB, Micah Parker. Champion, Market Lamb Class 12 Fine Wool Cross, Jasmine Garza. Champion, Market Steer, Class 14, Chianina, Medium Weight, Lily Ford. Reserve Grand Champion, Market Rabbits, Class 2, New Zealand, Casey Parker. Not present. Reserve Grand Champion, Heifer, Javier Trevino. All right. And we'd also like to recognize the Weslaco High School FFA sponsor, Mr. Juan Cadena. Mr. Cadena? And parents, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized or wave? Parents? Once again, I know it's a lot of work, so congratulations one more time to our FFA students. How about a big hand as they leave the room?
Those are all the.
Okay, so tonight we want to recognize our Employee of the Month for the month of March. In his 29 years of service with Memorial Elementary, this coach has left an unforgettable mark on countless of his students. Coach Carranza first organized the Wellness Walk at his school in 1994 to help students learn about the value of exercise and healthy living. Now, former students take part in the Wellness Walk with their own children who now attend Memorial Elementary. As department chair, Carranza also helps develop staff development for his fellow coaches across the district. From Memorial Elementary, let's recognize Joseph Carranza as the recipient of the WISD Employee of the Month Award. Congratulations. Photo right there. Once again, congratulations, Coach Carranza. And that concludes our awards and recognitions.
We'll move on to item number 6, which is the proclamations.
Yes, and I will take you through that, Madam President. We'll start off with our School Lunch Hero Day. So anyone here from Food and Nutrition? Ms. Dora Peña. All right, members of the staff. All right, so Ms. Peña and your staff, this is for you. Whereas nutritious meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff in the district's Food and Nutrition Services Department are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district children, and whereas the men and women who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support, therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 5th, 2023 as School Lunch Hero Day. Thank you. Up next, we have National School Nurse Day. Nurses, if you're here, can you please stand? Over there. We have some of our nurses here tonight. And Ms. Coughlin. Whereas WISD youth are treasured national resource whose health, education, and well-being are interrelated, vital concerns of family, school personnel, and community members, and whereas professional school nurses strengthen and facilitate the educational process by improving and protecting the health status of children and youth, and whereas the major focus of school nursing services is the prevention of illness and disability and the early detection and correction of health problems within the school and the community. Therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 10th, 2023 as National School Nurse Day. Thank you. So up next, we have Teacher Appreciation Week. So this is for all the teachers. Do we have anybody designated? We have a lot of teachers, so we're going to, if you're listening and you're a teacher, this is for you. Whereas Weslaco ISD teachers make public schools great, and whereas WISD teachers work to open students' minds to ideas, knowledge, and dreams, and whereas WISD teachers keep American democracy alive by laying the foundation for good citizenship, whereas WISD teachers fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, and motivators, and mentors, therefore Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD School Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 8th through May 12th, 2023 as Teacher Appreciation Week. Thank you. Up next, we have National Police Week, recognizing our community police officers. Anybody present? Okay. So this is recognizing our community police officers. Whereas members of law enforcement agencies for the City of Weslaco, Hidalgo County Sheriff's Department, and Hidalgo Precinct 1 Constable's Office play an important role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problem, duties, and responsibilities of their policing departments, and that members of our school district recognize their duty to serve the people and safeguard life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, or protecting the innocent against deception, and weak against oppression or intimidation. Now, therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD School Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 14th through the 20th, 2023 as National Police Week. Thank you. Up next, we have Celebrate the Arts Month. Celebrate the Arts Month. Do we have any teachers in it, art teachers in attendance?
Oh, it's actually all fine arts.
All fine arts. Yes. All fine arts.
Students and faculty.
Okay. So this is going to go. This is going to be recognizing all of our fine arts students at WISD. Whereas art is a vital part of our lives, and the study, performance, and appreciation of the fine arts are important to our social, cultural, historical, and educational development. And whereas the Weslaco Independent School District consistently supports the arts and strives to create an understanding and appreciation for the value of art in the home, school, the community, and the world. Whereas the pursuit of the fine arts, whether it be through study, creating, composing, listening, performing, or participation, enriches our lives. Therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD School Board, does hereby proclaim May the month of May as Celebrate the Arts Month. Thank you. Better Hearing and Speech Month. So our speech therapist and speech pathologist, if you're here, can you please stand, be recognized? Be it so resolved that the month of May be proclaimed as Better Hearing and Speech Month, and we encourage all citizens to recognize the achievements of our professionals in improving the quality of life for people with communication disorders. We salute the speech language pathologists and speech therapists who work tirelessly to bring better hearing and speech to the 1 in 10 families who are affected by communication disorders. Speech and language disorders take many forms. Babies can be born with this disorder. Accidental injury or illness can cause them at any age. Speech and language disorders can limit academic achievement, social adjustment, and career goals. Therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD School Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 2023 as Better Hearing and Speech Month. Thank you. Okay, we have one more for Mental Health Awareness Month. So we have some LPCs and intervention specialists here. Can they please stand and be recognized? So this proclamation is for you. Whereas COVID-19 pandemic has created national challenges to mental health, with nearly 45% of adults in the United States reporting that their mental health has worsened since the start of the pandemic response in 2020. And whereas many Americans are experiencing mental health challenges that they have never experienced before and are not equipped with the knowledge of how to navigate the complex mental health system. And whereas this does not include the significant ripple effect on their families and friends, the impact of mental health illness reaches families, neighborhoods, schools, and the workplace. Whereas WISD licensed professional counselors are available to provide services which include mental health assessment, student support plans, consultations, case coordination, professional development, training, and campus presentations, and more. Therefore, Jacqueline Sustaita, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim May 2023 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you. And that concludes our proclamations.
Thank you, Mr. Robledo. I look forward to celebrating all those people in May. We'll move on to item number 7, public comments.
We have one.
Okay. Is it in person? Oh, we have to be here. Okay. Okay, can the person who's speaking for public comments please come up? Hello, can you please state your name?
Yes, hi. My name is Scott McFarland.
Okay, and can you also please state your address?
My address is 600 East 8th Street, Weslaco, Texas.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read a short paragraph to you, and then you will have 5 minutes to begin your public comment after I read the paragraph to you. Pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comment made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of board discussion for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited to only a proposal by a board member to place the subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Audience participation in a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or personally identifiable information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. You have 5 minutes, and the board secretary, Dr. Rodriguez, will let you know when your time is up. You can go ahead and start.
Okay, first of all, I do want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come up here and speak. I do appreciate it. My purpose here is only to introduce disc golf into, hopefully, for further discussion into a school district. The reason that I'm so passionate about disc golf to be introduced is it's because it's a very inclusive sport, very similar to golf. It's played, a lot of the traditions as far as the jargon and the object of the game is to go from start to finish, from the goal, to the tee box within the fewest strokes as possible. Now, the thing is, the reason why I bring it here is because it's something, as I said, very inclusive. I have people as young as 3 years old who could barely pick up a disc, being able to play this and enjoy it. And I've actually had people in their 80s. I've been going around to, as we call them, Winter Texans down here. I hope it's not, any offense to anybody. It's retirees, and we actually had a lady, 82 years old, that just started playing. And it's a rejuvenating sport. It's a sport that actually, I heard mention about walks, about health walks and about things where we can, get out there. And this is actually, you're walking with purpose, because you're actually walking towards your disc. And you get to see different areas of the parks and parks all over the United States and all over the world now. Mexico has now begun parks all over the place. So this is something that's new. It's just starting. Our company, the Valley Disc Golf Store, actually started, we've designed 4 parks within the last year. So this is a sport that's growing quick. You can look at it since the pandemic. It is actually neck and neck with pickleball as being the fastest growing sports in the United States and the world. So factual wise, this is a great sport. Everybody's going to be taken to it. I've already worked with Mercedes ISD, but pre-COVID, they had actually implemented into their ACE program. They purchased discs, they purchased baskets. It's very reasonable compared to other equipment. It lasts a lot longer than a lot of other equipment. Same people, students could reuse these discs years and years, and they're still going to be good. EdCouch ISD has now implemented into their ACE program. They have it in all 4 of their elementaries and the 2 middle schools. We've now designed a course, an 18-hole course that's going to be played by these students and their families. So it's all inclusive here, So this is why I just wanted to bring it and get the opportunity to say, hey, let's take a look at disc golf, because it's honestly something that you'd really be surprised at the people that are able to do this. Really, really be surprised. From the people that feel like they have no athletic ability, if they could just swing their arm around, they can make these discs fly, and it'll make them feel good. It's good for their own self-esteem. I myself, I'm 48 years old. I just got sponsored, this year by a company out of Houston, Texas, who's actually a worldwide company, Lone Star Disc Golf, and another sponsor as well. And I'm 48 years old. My son is now sponsored. He's actually gone to Junior World, He's gone 2 years in a row, and he's on the list to go to this year. So we have small representation in the Valley. But my hopes are to try and grow a bigger area for juniors, which will actually bring notice over here, because only places like San Antonio, Houston, Austin have these kind of numbers. And this is an area that benefits here. Why? Because the disc could be used over and over again. It's a free sport. It's played in public parks, as well as some, private ones, but for the most part, public. So it's relatively inexpensive, which benefits a lot of the people that are down here. The fact that you don't outgrow your equipment is another thing that benefits the people from down here. My son, as I said, he's represented the Valley, already for 3 years. And he's already known from Houston on down. People know him. We go away and compete at tournaments. So this is something I really feel could be beneficial to the students out here. Maybe in a PE program where in the elementaries where everybody gets a chance to try it. So that's really what I have to say. If there's any questions, I could be, of course, my information's on there. And I'd love to either give presentations later on or anything you're willing to do. As I said, I am busy right now because we have been designing courses. I'm on the next one, so 5 here within the last year. So this is something I really hope that we jump in on. Yes? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm done. I don't know if anybody needs me up here. Any questions? Or no?
Thank you so much, Mr. McFarland.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. We'll move on to item number 8, the superintendent's report. Dr. Rivera?
You have the hard copy and also on your screen. Let me start by going over the enrollment. I'm very happy to report that compared to last year, The enrollment now is, as of April 13th, 16,453. Last year, 15,801, so a plus 652. Let me also say the goal for next year is to once again reach the 17,000 mark. Also, let me say the principals work very hard, and the ADA goal is 95%. Sometimes some schools are over and some schools are under. So right now, about 93 is the average, but the goal is 95% ADA. On page 3, I know we have discussed the attendance rezoning. And let me say that there were some schools where the parents had a choice to either stay there or go to another school. So there was 107 students involved, and the vast majority of parents want to stay at the school where they're at, and we're looking at the rezoning. I do want to say that Memorial and Kleckler held. These are the two schools that have a large enrollment. But as you can see in Memorial, we have 113 intra-district transfers and 40 outside the district. At Kleckler Hill, we have 284 intra-district and 72 out. So as the enrollment grows, the principals have made the call that they will limit the transfers, they will study the transfers, and we will continue studying the rezoning. But again, the key right now is the transfers that we have to see if they stay in that school or they go back to where they're supposed to be. Again, this is ongoing, and I'll continue reporting on the rezoning during May and throughout the summer. The goal is to have these schools to where they're supposed to be and not be overcrowded or overstaffed. On page 4, all of you know that we're in a very tight budget. The ADA was budgeted very high at $15,700, and as Mr. Robelo mentioned, the actual ADA was $13,800. So there's a big shortfall. We did not get near that number, so there's a shortfall. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to balance the budget. I'm looking at the staffing plan, and right now there are several administrators that are going to be either they retired, were going to be reassigned, but we're not going to fill these slots. So, and we can do this with the staff that we presently have. So all of these together is almost $600,000 that we're going to reduce next year's budget. On number 3, we have the staff at the CT Early College, and the staff that's there, we're going to go ahead and move to all the schools where there's slots available, there's vacancy, and also a savings about $1.5 million. In the DAP, we mentioned at the one that we have at Roosevelt, we started at every campus, the CAP, it's the same thing, but the principals get to keep the students that have caused discipline problems, infractions. So from the Roosevelt campus, we're not going to close it. We're just going to go ahead and limit the number that's there. So some of the staff that's there are going to go into vacancies. It's a very good program, but we feel that the vast majority of these kids can stay at the campus at their own AP. The extra funds, I think I told you last month that we were going to try to go ahead and get all our teachers back from ESSER into local, but in looking at the shortfall, it's going to be a little more difficult, so we're still studying this, and there will be some that will stay ESSER funded for next year, but only up to January or maybe at the end of the year, but eventually all our teachers are going to go back to local funds. And through this savings, we're going to be able to offer more HVAC upgrades and at the schools that are there. Also, number 6, through attrition, resignations, retirements, we feel we can save some money on that too. So the whole purpose here is to save money from the 23 budget for 24, so we can come up with a balanced budget and meet all the needs that we have to that we have in our school, in our budget. Again, the goal is to reduce and to continue having a balanced budget. On page 5, the Head Start, again, we're keeping the program as is. The students right now attend Margot, North Bridge, and Silva. There's 16 classrooms. The plan is to continue following the one-half model. And the MOU will be brought to the board at the May meeting. The pre-K 3, there's 2 classrooms per school. And right now, under the organization, I'm studying, I'm going to evaluate who is going to be in charge of this Head Start program. On page 6, there's an update on the insurance rebate. I think last time Mr. Los Santos mentioned about the rebate. Rebate is a return of the purchase price by the seller to the buyer. And the rebates are done through the PBM, who then shares the portion with the health insurance. In our case, the PBM is Araya, and I'm happy to report that the rebates for '22 was almost $900,000. The rebates for this school year is about 1.6. So again, these are the rebates that the district receives, and we're able to go ahead and put this money back into our fund balance.
Dr. Rivera,
Yes.
can I
Yes,
rewind back to
certainly.
page 4? I was going to ask, and then it's
Yes.
just been on my mind since you mentioned. Number 2, reduction of administrators due to being overstaffed. If I'm an administrator, I'm worried if I see this. Did you say this is resignations or retirements?
Right,
or-
you have the list in
Okay,
closed session, but no one is going to lose their job.
That's what my
That's-
question was. No
that's
one
the-
will lose their
No one's
job.
gonna lose their job, no.
Okay.
It just, as vacancies occur, we're gonna go ahead and put them in, again, through resignations or reassignments. But no
Okay.
one is going to lose their job.
We'll emphasize that. No
Yes,
one will
no
lose their
one will
job.
lose
That's
their
important.
job,
Thank
right.
you.
Yes,
I have a few
Yes,
questions for
yes.
page 6.
okay.
Okay. Only because for PBMs, those are, like you said, just for those that are watching, those are services that are provided where they're like the middlemen. So they deal with the pharmaceutical companies and the drugs and whatnot. So some offer guaranteed rebates, some tell you that you have an estimated rebate. So when the board decides and are presented with these companies, part of the services, the quality of the drugs, et cetera, is all presented to us. And then we're told also, we're comparing companies that are telling you you may get this, and then you're comparing to companies that say you're guaranteed to get this. It's in the contract. So you already kind of know, well, I'm going to receive 1.5 million at the end of this year, but you don't know the exact cost. So for the 21-22 school year, I know that we were presented and told when we're going to renew the programs that we were looking at about 1.4 million, possibly in rebates, versus the other company that had guaranteed rebates of almost 1.5. So my question is, what happened in 21-22 that okay, we fell well below the mark? And then my second question is, in 22-23, you're saying that you're looking at possible rebates of 1.6 million. But the last line says, as of the third quarter of 22, the districts received 311. Now, is that part of the current 1.6 that you're hoping to receive? So far, we're in the third quarter, and I'm assuming there's only 4, right? And so we're only at 311, so we're looking at still receiving a 1.3 million between the last quarter?
That's correct. The quarter runs from September of 2022 to the end of this quarter, or the end of this year, if
Right.
you will. So the answer to your question is yes. Based on what the PBM projected, based on trend and the history of the specialty drugs that have been dispensed, that is what they predicted is at $1.6 million. Now, the last quarter, or the third quarter of 2022, that's when our plan year starts. We've already received monies in the amount of $311,000. So we're looking that we're still pending $1.3 million based on what the estimates that the PBM advised. Now, again, those are just estimates based on trend and the drugs that are being dispensed. So if the market says, well, for example, Humira, if the rebate is not as high as it once was, then we're going to see those. We're going to see that. So what we are guaranteed is that we get the full amount of rebates, depending on what they are. Now, the answer to the other question was the other company will guarantee their rebates. Well, they didn't guarantee rebates. They just guaranteed a credit on our admin fees.
Right.
But moving forward, for next year, we will be looking at all that again, or the board will be analyzing it again.
So, and I'm only bringing this up because of other issues from prior to when I was on the board, where we're dealing with other companies. How do we know that there's not some type of, like in the year 21, 22, we were told 1.4 million, we're seeing 878. There's obviously a shortfall there. Who verifies, who checks, who looks over, like, audits them on our behalf and makes sure that we received all the rebates we're supposed to receive?
We haven't audited them,
Or
but
is it
we do
just on
get,
good
we do
faith?
get statements from the PBM as far as these are the drugs that were dispensed, this was the rebates. So, in essence, yes. I mean, we're taking their word for it unless, like you said, we do hire a firm to audit them. But that's up to the board.
Okay. And I'm only, like I said, I'm only bringing that up because of other things that we're looking at now. So, because it's quite a difference. And then I'm really interested, so 22, 23, when will we find out what the total is for that? What's the window there when we'll know exactly what our rebates were?
We'll know probably, they run about 3 or 4 months. There's a lag time because the drugs that were dispensed, say in the third quarter of 2022, we're barely getting those right now because there is a lag between, by the time the drug is dispensed, by the time the rebates make it all the way back to the PBM, and then those are dispensed to us.
And the only reason I ask is because in the past, we've been explained too that the performance of these companies are that you're gonna see high claims on the medical side, that means people going to the doctor's office and getting services done. And then on the other aspect of it, you'll see lower RX or lower prescription costs.
I don't think there's a correlation between that.
No, I know, but you said that before in other meetings. I went back and checked, and I said that was kind of what we were gonna look at. And in this year, what I'm looking at is low claims and higher RX costs compared to last year. Last year, we had 7.4 million in claims and 3.4 million in prescription costs. And this year so far, we have 7 million in claims and we have 3.7 million in RX costs. So I'm just curious as far as like who checks on our behalf, that companies that say, I'm gonna give you back money that's earned, who actually checks to see that they're giving us back the right
Again,
amount?
they give us statements, so again, it's on faith that we take that. If you wanted to hire a company to do that, you certainly could. It's the same way when you have a third-party administrator that guarantees a percentage amount of rebates. We don't know if they're telling us the truth because those contracts are proprietary. So again, we're taking it on faith that we're getting what we're supposed to get, unless you wanted to hire a company to follow and to perform an audit, then that's at the discretion of the
Yeah,
board.
and that's what I'm saying, that's not done internally. That's all I just wanted to identify. It's not done internally, so we're just gonna
But
go.
no, we don't have the means or the resource to do it internally, no.
Understood. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on page 7, this is the update on the insurance. Compared to last year, you can see that the claims RX, the fixed costs, were a little bit higher than last year. On the funding that we have right now is about $20 million. So far through February, we spent 13.2 million. So what we have left for the rest of the year is, for the claims and RX and fixed costs, is 6.8 million. However, on the bottom, we talked about the rebates, the ESSER COVID is gonna come back to us, the stop loss reimbursement. So we have about $6.7 million that's gonna go back to our fund balance to be able to fund the health insurance this year and in future years. On page 8, this is the workers' comp. And you can see compared to last year, there's 75 claims last year, this year 87. What we've incurred is about $234,000 in '23. And on the bottom, you can see our fund balance. The funding that we have in the budget is about $460,000. We spent so far $234, so the reserves right now are $225, but we still have a fund balance of about $283,000. So far, we're doing well also in this plan, and the key here is to work with our staff, to have staff developments where we don't get them hurt. On page 9, our staff has been very, very active in looking at the interest rates with our monies, and the revenues are almost, through interest, we've accumulated almost $2 million. But however, we've had to use some of this money for additional costs that were not budgeted, maintenance costs, administrative costs, safety and security, athletics, and nursing. But had we not gotten this money for the interest, this money would have had to come from fund balance. So again, it's kind of good news, almost $2 million, but we had to spend it in the funds that were in the red. On page 10, kind of looking towards if being transparent and showing the community what we have done with loans. There's maintenance loans. There's 4 right now. In the year 2014, the district borrowed $12 million, and the current balance is almost $6 million. And we used that for HVAC equipment and energy conservation projects district-wide. So a few years later, 3 years later, in 2017, the district took another note of $15 million. And that money went from the $50 million, the proceeds were used to purchase HVAC equipment, vehicles, fencing, repairs on the roofs district-wide. So this was the second loan, and you can see the interest was a little higher. And then later on, as the years go by, we'll see if we can refinance these loans. Right now, the interest is high. We'll go back and see if we can refinance these loans. The third loan occurred in 2018 for about $5 million, and there was a big flood in Weslaco, and it went to buy buses and other equipment. And then the last loan was taken in 2019. That was to purchase the scoreboard at the stadium. But I want to make sure that when I was superintendent in past years, the scoreboard through advertisements paid for itself. So I want to make sure I get with the coaches and to make sure that whatever we get in advertisement goes towards paying the loan. So again, these are 4 past loans for things that we needed. And again, we're monitoring the interest rate to see if we can refinance. Page 11, we mentioned earlier about the mental health services. This is so important in our school district. So we received two RFQs, and right now we're studying these, evaluating these, and we'll come back to the board for future meetings that we need to go ahead and proceed and do something with the services, the mental health services in our school district. On page 12, update on the clinic. The clinic, we explored this a while back. We received 2 proposals. Proposal 1 is from a local provider. And it's offered, we already have this clinic in the Weslaco area. Proposal 2 will be more expensive to operate with a full-service clinic. So we have 2 proposals. The next step is to have a workshop and decide if the board wants to go ahead and proceed with one of these health clinics. On page 13, the update on the instructional coaches. Originally, this was done for the COVID learning loss. For this school year, we had 2 instructional coaches per campus, budgeted through state comp, and the pay was very much on the teacher scale. TASB has recommended that we go ahead and place them at the 100 pay grade. The ESSER funds will end next May, so we're in the process of evaluating these instructional coaches. We want to make sure that that they're effective, that we're getting the results we can, and then we'll make adjustments as necessary. So in future years, we're going to be okay for next year, but in future years, we'll have to decide if we want to go ahead and continue or come up with a modified plan. On page 14, our billboard needs a little work on it, and we'll come back to the board at another meeting to see the repairs that need to be done to get the billboard repair the billboard. Again, we're very, very proud of the billboard. I was superintendent when this was done, and as you can see, the kids appear in the billboard, and the kids love it. The family loves it. Everyone likes to see their picture up there, so it's a very good program that we need to go ahead and come back and come up with to repair the billboard. On the next page, the next few pages, as we study a bond election in November, what I wanted to do right now is just on page 15, listed all the elementary schools, the 10 that we have, and needs that we have. For example, roofing, air conditioning, security alarms, kitchen remodelings, mini gyms. So as the summer goes on, we'll address these campus by campus. We'll have a committee as we look at the needs for the elementary schools as we contemplate having a bond election. And also move forward on the following page as we look at innovative and modernized classrooms. Many times throughout the state, you already have these kind of classrooms. We're still very much traditional, not only here, just about everywhere. But there is another route to take as we innovate our classrooms, and they're designed for interaction, for engagement, and aligned to be innovative and, again, creative teaching. So these are just pictures of some classrooms that are throughout the state, throughout the nations. So again, a committee will look at all of these and perhaps make this part of the bond election. On page 17, these are the district needs for the middle schools. Most Central, Cuella, Mary Hogue, and B. Garza. Most of them are roofing issues, air conditioning issues, the restroom partitions and renovations, the parking. So again, we'll go one by one on these schools, and we'll show the community, we'll show the advisory group on the needs that are needed should we go through a bond election. The following page, again, just shows the same thing for middle school classrooms, whether you become innovative, designs are a little different. Instead of the traditional way that we have, the furniture is different, the technology is different. So this is the way we want to go as we look into the classrooms of the future. On the next page, these are high school needs at our high schools. And again, most of these is roofing, air conditioning, their tennis courts, kitchen and food court. There are a lot of needs also at the high schools. On page 20, there's also a innovative, modernized classrooms of what high schools look with technology throughout the state, throughout the nation. And eventually we want to go ahead and go towards this kind of classroom in the future. Page 21, these are the district facility needs. We have the administration building, Horde Stephen F. Austin, and again, a lot of these are roofing and their air conditioning and energy management and the maintenance department. The energy management, for example, where they are right now, that was the old bus barn back in the 1960s. So that's where they are right now. So again, we're looking at these needs from the departments. On 22, these are athletic needs. Our Central, our Cuella, Mary Hogue, B. Garza, the high schools, Weslaco East, Weslaco High, the aquatic center, their needs also in athletics. So if we go through a bond election, there'll probably be Proposition A, and Proposition B would be for athletics. Again, the tracks are needed, just a lot of things are needed, tennis courts on the improvement. And on 23, we want to embrace the future with high-tech classrooms. This will also be part of the bond election. The future is now. There are a lot of things that need to be changed with our high-tech classrooms. The next page is the update on the Ag Farm. Again, we've done a lot of work, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. We're going to have committees to look at what needs to be done to improve the Ag Farm. Basically, this is my report. If you have any questions on any of these slides, I'm here, staff is here, principals are here.
Dr. Rivera, I had a question. I know you're talking about the bond election and all the items that we want to address and put into that bond election, but I think since 2020, I've kind of been bringing this up, and I think it's great that we have, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, SROs? Are those, that's the officers, right, full-time officers? And I know that in the district, we have them at the high schools and all the secondaries, high schools and junior high. And so I had brought up possibly, what options do we have to have services at every single campus? And I know that having a full-time district police department was something that was going to be of a high cost, but can we also look at, now that we're looking at things in the bond election, can we also make that adjustment so that we can have officers at every single campus in the district? I've been asking for that for a long time, and I think that it's something that we need to really take to heart and look at and find a way that how we can build that into our expense, our yearly expense, so that we can provide those services at every single campus, especially our elementary campuses.
I agree. And in the budget, Mr. David, let's study that. I know in the past, we had a police force when I was here before, but I think it was a grant that we received. So we will look into this. I support you 100%. I feel it's needed. And again, we'll study this, and when we discuss the budget, it can be brought up.
That was another one of Trustee Castillo's questions about the police department, if we could look into it, just like Mr. De Los Santos has been asking for many, many months. But also, I know we've talked about metal detectors. I going through conferences and going through security classes, some say yes, some say no, those pros and cons to it. But if we could really just research into if this would work for us, how much would it be? What are we looking at? Just to bring that sense of security to our schools, to have some kind of, metal detector system or something for us to look at for next year or later on whenever the budget would allow.
Yes, we can do that too, as part of the budget.
Any other questions or comments? Good? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rivera, for putting that together. It's very informative. I also want to just say about the ag farm, I know I have some parents that parental emails, concerns. I know they've been working on it, so I'm glad to see that there's going to be a meeting between the parents and the admin on April 20. So that way, if any parents are listening, they can be there for that meeting. We'll move on to item number 9, consent agenda. I'll give you a couple of seconds to look over it, as you probably already have. And if you don't want to pull anything out, I'll go one by one just to make sure.
Can we pull for maybe next month item on consent in?
Okay?
We had one proposal, and we want to go back and do it again.
Okay, so we'll pull out item N, approval of proposal award number 1, automotive routine maintenance services, RFP number 23-10-20 to rebid because we only had one bidder. I'll go ahead and, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda pending?
Questions?
Me, I don't have anything to pull.
Any items to pull? No.
No,
None. No items to pull? Okay,
Motion to
so,
approve consent agenda, excluding item N.
I'll second.
okay, so we have a motion by Mr. De Los Santos to approve the consent agenda excluding item N, and a second by Trustee Rodriguez. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes to approve consent agenda excluding item N. We'll save that for if it goes out to rebid. We'll move on to item 10, discussion items. We have 1A, update on training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda item requests by board members.
There's some grievances, level 3, that I'll put an update tomorrow as to which ones we have still.
Okay.
They need to be heard.
Any other questions or updates for any other board members?
No.
We're good? Okay, sounds good. On to item 11, discussion and possible action items. A, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the second reading to Board Policy Update 120 Local.
Recommending approval?
Second.
Very good. We'll have a motion by Trustee Cuellar and a second by Trustee Rodriguez to approve the item as written. We'll take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. Item B, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the second reading to Board Policy, CH Local, Purchasing and Acquisition.
Same thing here.
Same thing.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Trustee Rodriguez.
Second.
Second by Mr. De Los Santos. Do I have any comments, questions? Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
The chair votes aye to approve the action item as written. We'll move on to item C. Discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval to number 1, extend the contract award for the independent fiscal and compliance audit of the district for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023, RFQ number 21-06-29, or number 2, release a request for qualifications for auditors to conduct the independent fiscal and compliance audit of the district for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve option 1, approving the extension of the contract award to CPA firm Carr, Riggs, and Ingram.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have the motion by Mr. De Los Santos and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to approve, extend the contract award for the independent fiscal and compliance audit, which is Carr, Rigg, and Ingram's, right? Ingram's Rig. Are there any discussion, question, comments? Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar? Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes for extending the contract for Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. On to item D, discussion and possible action for the board to consider rescinding the action taken by the board on October 18, 2022 on the approval of contract to rent the Bert Ogden Arena for school graduations in May 2023. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to rescind.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. De Los Santos and a second by Trustee Rodriguez to rescind the action taken by the board and not rent the Bert Ogden Arena for school graduations in May 2023. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes to rescind the contract.
So we're going back to our stadium.
Yes.
Going back to our stadium. Item E, discussion and possible action for the board to consider rescinding the action taken by the board on November 15, 2022, and on December 12, 2022, on the approval for updates to the 2022-2023 Weslaco ISD compensation plan and local fund to set up a budget pertaining to the employment of 9 student outreach specialists.
We did not hire these individuals because they were not budgeted. It was very expensive. And we want to go ahead and ask that you rescind and for us to study this for future years.
I'll move to rescind.
Aye, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Rodriguez and a second by Trustee Cuellar to rescind the action taken by the board on November 15. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote if there is no discussion. Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes. On to item F, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a change order to the automotive and welding equipment project for the Joe Calvillo Jr. Career and Technology Education Complex, RFP number 23-11-23.
Let me call on Mr. Garza. Mr. Miracle, you want to explain this one?
Good evening.
Board, Dr. Rivera. So we have a change order for this project. This project is being funded by a grant. There's no funds available anymore on the grant, or rather, I should say they're available, but we were not able to use them anymore. So it was a one-time purchase or use of the funds. There's a small balance that was left over in the grant, but we can't use it anymore. So the vendor who submitted their bid for this particular section of the project, which consists of automotive welding equipment and the replacement of the exhaust system for the welding shop at the Kate building. They pretty much admitted that they had missed some of the items, so they're coming to us asking us for assistance with the change order, which is additional monies. And so because of the timeline that we have to meet with the grant, this portion of the project, which is the exhaust system, is $218,000 that they bid. And so we're actually negotiating with them, saying, look, we need to get it done. We're willing to pay for part of it, which is of the change order, which is $14,300, $14,280 to be exact. And then we'll remove the existing exhaust system, which is minimal work in-house, but they still have to pay for a piece of change order, part of the change order that they're requesting, which is general contracting services. Mm-hmm. So they actually bid the project as a vendor seller of products rather than a construction project. And so this portion of the grant, which is the replacement of the exhaust system, is actually a construction portion of the project.
I have a question. So they don't work like on a stipulated sum? Like when they said they were gonna do the job, they got the contract, they're selling the product and the installation. And yet, but they're saying, we made a mistake, so could you all pay for it?
Correct.
That's kind of the situation we're in.
Correct. That's what happened. So their vendor, Airgas is the vendor, and they submitted it as a sales of equipment.
Right, installation too.
Right, and they said that's why we missed this portion of it, which is installation.
Right, but like I'm saying, is it on like a stipulated sum, meaning we signed a contract, you said you were gonna finish this job, whether you drop the ball or not, that's relevant of the customer.
That is correct. That is correct.
So realistically, in our contract, do we have a contract where we say, well, if you make a mistake, we'll cover the cost?
We don't have it for this. What we're using as the agreement is the actual purchase order that we send to them, and also the actual proposal package that they signed. When they submitted the proposal, their bid proposal, that was all inclusive in there. So we did ask for that up front. It was clear in the proposal.
So it's their error.
Yes, that is correct.
That's what I'm
Absolutely.
stating.
Yeah,
But we're saying, hey, it's 36,000, we'll pay a portion.
right, correct. So in an effort to try to make sure that we meet the deadlines of the grant. Again, this
Okay.
portion of the
Right.
grant that they submitted was
On the timeline.
$218,000, yes.
And what's the total cost again? Because it was a while back. What was the grant total cost?
The grant itself, it's 1.1 million, I believe.
So
The total.
So we don't hit deadlines, we lose funding, right?
Right, we have until August 31st, I believe, to make sure we meet the deadlines of the grant.
Okay.
So we're pretty much saying that we don't want to risk losing
Right.
out on the 218,000.
I'm just, you know, we don't wanna lose what we need because we don't act on this thing.
Correct.
So, this is what we're recommending, Dr. Rivera?
Yes,
This is something we need to do?
yes. The
With
change
that
order.
being said, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Sounds good. And now, just a quick comment, now that we're just on the topic of welding and automotive, career technology, we've talked amongst the board of how important it is for the children, the kids in our district, to, of course, you want them to go to the four-year college and you want them to invest in universities or but having this career in technology, a lot of us know as adults, when kids get out of high school, a lot of it is vocational. You know, what career in technology, the welding, you have your business owners, you have your carpenters, you have your construction. And it's so important. I think, and I'm glad to see that we're investing this money into this. I just would love to see some recruitment, because I don't know how many numbers we have with kids that are actually in the welding program or in the CATE program. But I know sometimes the kids don't want to be late to school when they get back because they're tardy or this and that. There's issues. But I would love to see more recruitment from the just getting the kids involved, because there's so many certifications that are invaluable to them. Me as an employer in the labor workforce, you know, to have a guy who has his welding certification or his journeyman, I don't know, that's not even an electrician, you know, but other things that we offer through the CATE program. I would love to see more recruitment for this program. So if we can just think of ways to have the kids be involved with this would be awesome, because there's a lot of opportunities. And we don't want to discourage the 4-year or even more of the universities,
I
but
believe we have associate degrees that
Right.
that they have, and
Avila?
they're actually ready for the workforce.
Well, yeah,
it would be
we're-
great to hear from Ms. Avila, who's the CATE director.
And just a quick comment, we felt the shortages in the area of AC. You know, when we try to interview, there's a shortage of candidates.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
like
is.
AC, electrical, that's what I'm saying, we're a college and career institution, so we're preparing kids for both, those that want to go on the path of post-secondary, those that want to go into the workforce.
Yes.
And
Well, as
that's-
a matter of fact, if I can just interrupt real quick, good evening. We do have an excess of students wanting to go into
Oh,
the
nice.
welding program, like there's 238. So we're trying to upgrade, you know, all the different facilities, you know, but
Great.
early college high school is using 2 of the labs, shop areas at high school. The one at East only has like 8 to 10 welding booths, and then we have the one at the ag farm at Abrigo that has 14. So we're trying to utilize, but we're going to be creative with the schedule to see, because we
Okay.
also do welding and ag mechanics. So, but whatever information you need, I can put it on the board update as far as like our
Okay.
pre-registration numbers that we have for all the programs.
So of course the spots are limited, correct? Because we only have a
Right,
certain
and the
number of.
facilities,
and- okay.
exactly.
Facility and stuff.
Right.
And so, just curious, we do have such like a HVAC, electrical type
We
program?
did at one time. We had HVAC and we had electrical, but, you know, at that time, we were trying to build it, and so a lot has to do with the adjuncts that we're trying to start it as well. I've shared in the past. But whatever you would like to see with the direction of Dr. Rivera, we'll certainly look into offering those programs
Thank you for
or
the info.
adding them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
very informative. Okay. I know that you guys made a motion.
Yes.
I did not mark it down, but I believe you.
Motion and second, yes.
Okay, so trustee Cuellar made a motion to approve the change order for the automotive and welding equipment project for the Calvillo Junior Career and Technology Complex, and a second by trustee De Los Santos. If there are no more questions or comments, we'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion passes to approve the change order. We'll move on to item number 12, closed meeting to discuss A, personnel matters, Texas Government Code 551.074. Number 1, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Number 2, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Number 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. Texas Government Code 551.074 and 551.071. A, discussion and election regarding superintendent's recommendation for proposal of renewal of contracts for district administrators, principals, and assistant principals. B, discussion and election regarding superintendent's recommendation for proposal of renewal of probationary, term, and continuing contracts for teachers and support personnel for the 23-24 school year. And C, discussion and election regarding superintendent's recommendation for proposal of non-renewal of probationary and term contracts for teachers and support personnel for the 23-24 school year. And letter B, consultation with attorney regarding A, pending or contemplated litigation, B, a settlement offer, or C, a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code 551.071. Number 1, Weslaco ISD versus CL Freights and Company, DBA Freights Benefit Administrators, 720CV00387. It is now 7:21 p.m., and we will go ahead and meet in closed session. It is 8:28 PM and we have reconvened in open meeting. We will go on to item number 13. Letter A, possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Number 1, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on employment of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, so I have a motion by Mr. De Los Santos to approve the item as written, and a second by Dr. Rodriguez. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Dr. Rodriguez?
Aye.
Coach Cuellar?
Aye, with the exception of the individuals discussed in closed session.
Is that for
Would you
this
like to
one?
go back
Yes,
and?
that's for this one.
It's for this one here?
I'll go ahead and go back to trustee Rodriguez so he can go ahead and make his vote again.
Because I thought it was for the renewals.
This is for the recommendation on employment of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. So do you,
So-
I'll go ahead and go back
I'll go
to you,
back.
trustee
Okay.
Rodriguez. Can you please state how you vote?
Aye, with the exception of the individuals discussed in closed session.
Okay, that for the record. Coach Cuellar already made said his vote. We'll move on to trustee De Los Santos.
Aye, except for the individuals discussed in closed session.
Okay, and the chair votes aye, so motion passes. Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation on resignations, retirements of certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, motion by Mr. De Los Santos and a second by trustee Rodriguez to approve the resignations and retirements on certified professional and non-contractual personnel. Go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez.
Aye.
Trustee Cuellar.
Aye.
Trustee De Los Santos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, motion passes. On to item number 3, discussion and possible action on superintendent's recommendations for renewal and non-renewal of employment contracts for the 23-24 school year. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, motion by Mr. De Los Santos and a second by Dr. Rodriguez to approve the renewal and non-renewals of employment contracts. We'll go ahead and take it to a vote. Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye, with the exception of the names discussed in closed session.
Trustee Cuellar?
Aye, with the exception of the names discussed in closed session.
Noted. Trustee De Los Santos?
Aye, with the exception of the names discussed in closed session.
Okay, chair votes aye, motion passes. Number 4, discussion and possible action regarding Weslaco ISD versus CL Freights and Company, DBA Freights Benefit Administrators, 720 CV 00387.
As discussed in closed session, the attorney and I will follow up.
Okay, so do we have a motion? No action on this. We'll table it as is, okay? Number 14, adjournment.
So move.
All right, it's 8:31 PM and we are adjourned.